Hey everybody, it's GoblinX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today we're going to be playing another sealed event, this time another Twitch recorded sealed event, as I have been having a ton of fun over there with you all. So without further ado, here's the sealed. Alright, so what are our rares here? We've got a red-white dual land, Audric Blood Curse to go with it, although not a super rare level power on that card. Cemetery Gatekeeper is very powerful. If you're an aggressive strategy, this does do 2 damage to each player whenever someone casts a spell of the card type that you exile from a graveyard. However, if you're the aggressive deck, then you get more benefited from that than your opponent. Like your opponent gets to punish for it harder. Path of Peril was pretty sweet in the one deck I played it in. Just a big old Wrath. Yep, this is my third sealed and my third Audric. So you gotta love that. That is very true, Toby. Also my third sealed, my third dual land at rare. I think the other two I had 2 also. There's Dorothy, Vengeful Victim. 2 mana for a 4/4 flyer. When the attacker blocks, sacrifice them at the end of combat, and then disturb. 3 mana, Aura. Whenever this creature attacks, create a 4/4 white spirit with flying, tapped, and attacking. Sack it at the end of combat. That's interesting. That's probably pretty good if we go in blue-white. Well, I don't think there's anything like super bonkers. There's not like 3 awesome rares in a single color pair or anything. So it is going to depend a lot on how good our quality commons and uncommons are. And I'm actually going to run straight to the multicolored stuff this time around, see if we have any kind of signpost uncommons. We have the green-blue mill card, the green-blue self-mill card, the white-blue disturb card. White-blue disturb card to go with Dorothy. Could be good to go white-blue here, if our white and blue are good. And then now, I guess we're just working our way backwards because I'm over here anyway. Green has Flourishing Hunters, they're fine. Millipede's fine. Cadet, really need combos, cards to combo with it for it to be good. Yeah, green looks okay. Not super absurd. Red, oh, there's a lot of red cards. We've got the Flame Blessed Bolt, that Gatekeeper, 2 mana 2/2 Ridge Wolf, a Runebound Wolf. We'll take Visionary, actually a lot of 2-drops there as well. Great aggressive 3-drops. The Guests, Blood Hypnotist, and Fearful Villager. Vampire's Vengeance is always sweet. And a couple Lacerate Fleshes, which aren't perfect, but we'll take what we can get in sealed when it comes to removal. Probably even play a Sure Strike, maybe Markov Retribution. How many vampires do we have in just red? We have 4. Markov Retribution could make the cut, especially if we go black-red. There's a Reckless Impulse too. Yeah, red looks pretty good. Definitely better than green. Lots of solid playables there. Again, no massive bombs, but overall good card quality. Let's see what we have in black. Black also looks okay. I do really like Blood Fountain and Blood Crazed Socialite, but a lot of these other cards are pretty medium. Ragged Recluse, even in the deck with 12 blood, was just fine. Mind Leech Ghouls are fine at 2. Catapult Fodder, you really want the high toughness stuff to combo with it. Although I guess a 3 mana 1/5. Not completely unplayable, but I'm not excited about that. We don't have much high toughness stuff to play around with, so we're probably not playing that. Black looks solid. It would be at its best if our white is good and we can go black-white, but our white looks pretty empty. There's very few white cards here. And black looks alright. Blue, what do we have? Double Wretched Throng. Not quite enough to be great, but it's fine. Diver Scab's good. Repository Scabs are good. Cruel Witness. Skywarp Scab is fine. Syncopate's fine. Chill. Some Entombers to fill out the deck. Maybe a Cradle. Blue also looks pretty fine. Honestly, I don't think there's any standout colors to me. I think red is our best color, but in terms of our secondary color, everything's looking pretty medium, pretty okay. Certainly don't think our rares are insane, so I don't see any big reason to be like splashing into a third color either. Our best rare is probably Dorothy, but I don't think our white and blue are good enough to justify being like white-blue as the core. Maybe we could do like red-white or red-blue and splash in a little bit of the third color for Dorothy. But we don't have great mana fixing either. We have the one Sundown Pass, didn't open any Terramorphic Expanse or any of the mana rocks. Well, I mean, we're certainly playing red, and then just figure out where we go from there. It's not looking like a sealed pool that's gonna have too many great ways to help splash in anything. Kind of like the idea of black-red to make our Markov's Retribution better. And I do think our black was fine. It had a couple cards I really like the Blood Fountain and the Socialite. We do get to play the 6-mana removal, which is certainly better in sealed than draft. I think it's just perfectly fine, solid removal in sealed. I don't think we're playing Path of Peril. I don't think this is the kind of card that you really play unless you can cleave it. Although, I guess we do have the red-white Sundown Pass that actually does help splash in Path of Peril quite a bit. Because we just play this instead of a mountain. Now we only have to play 1 or 2 planes to splash in the cleave cost on Path. I could maybe see that. And then if we're splashing in that, we could splash in Audric as well, but Audric is actually just not splash level of power level. It's kind of just like a like a worse belligerent guest, because it probably comes with 1 or 2 blood. The guest often can get 1 or 2. Yeah, I'm still not certain on the prospects of splashing anything here. Blue does look pretty solid. Blue could be where it's at also. Red-blue or red-black. And our black works kind of well with our red, with a little bit more blood synergies with Blood Crazed Socialite, Blood Fountain to help work with like Blood Hypnotist and stuff that we have in red, and a little bit more vampires to work with Vampire's Vengeance and Markov Retribution. But then blue with our good red spells, like the Flame Blessed Bolt and Double Lacerate Flesh, we have 2 Repository Scab and a Cruel Witness. Those definitely combo well for a blue-red deck. I again could really see going either way. No super obvious things standing out to me as wildly better or worse. Only 16 creatures here, and I'd like to be aggressive with Cemetery Gatekeeper preferably. So I think we cut 3 non-creatures if we can. I think we are cutting Path of Peril because I don't think I want to splash in the white for it. So cut Sure Strike and Markov's Retribution. We have 5 vampires. 5 is probably too low for Markov Retribution. But then Sure Strike, is there anything we'd want to cut more than it? Not really. I probably don't play enough combat tricks in general because I always find myself cutting them as the last cut in basically every deck. I'm just like, cut the combat trick. It is good with the Menace creatures. We only have 2 Menace creatures in this deck, though. So it's not like wildly good in this. Yeah, sure, I'll cut a Sure Strike. Although I'm unsure about that decision. So we have 13 red cards and 10 black cards in here, so slightly more red than black. Our red is also a little bit cheaper on our curve, so I like going 9-8. I think I agree with the auto-suggesture. Seems good to me. Yeah, it is weird going from draft to sealed, because this just looks like an infinitely worse version of the last deck that we played, but that's just like the variance between the power level in draft decks and sealed decks, often. And this sealed pool is also just not very good. No real big bombs to really go after. I guess we can take a look at white-blue here because our white-blue gold cards are so good, but our white is really not there. So I'm going to save this deck and then I'll take a look at white-blue. See if that looks better. And if not, I'll just get rid of the deck. And the black-red deck is already saved. Guess we are even running the Wretched Throngs with just one other copy of them. Just kind of cute. Kind of a quaint Wretched Throng in this deck. I guess we do have that Wedding Invitation. We could have ran that in either of these decks. Just random draw a card. Get unblockably in late game. Maybe Nurturing Presence. We could try to work with our Brine Comber stuff. But if I want to try it, I'd probably just try one copy. Because, yeah, I mean, it's a 2-mana 1/1 flyer that gives something +1/+1 the turn it comes into play. You just have to contextualize this card as a creature and not an aura, and then it doesn't seem that bad. Still doesn't seem exciting to me, though. This is 17 creatures, 6 non-creatures, so this would be the deck. This actually looks kind of nice. Our red-black deck definitely has better removal, and it still has a pretty good curve, and it's quite aggressive. But just looking at this and like seeing that we actually have a Dorothy and stuff, like having a bomb sort of makes me kind of happy. It's not the most wild bomb ever. You really have to be able to throw Dorothy's Retribution onto a creature that can attack in without dying, so Dorothy seems really good with like those 1-mana 1/1 flyers and stuff. We have very few creatures that can attack in well. Like, we have all these mediocre ground creatures. Slapping Dorothy's Retribution onto any of those is just not very good. We get that 4 damage in, but then the creature immediately dies often. But it is really good on like a Shield Basher, a Cruel Witness, or one of these flyers. These 5. I think ideally I'd want like more 1-mana flyers and stuff to go with her. I think I'm still on the red-black deck here. So I'm just going to discard changes and take one last look at the red-black, but I think overall it just looks better to me. Yeah, I really like the non-creature spell suite in this deck. And the creatures, sure, they are pretty medium, but the curve's ridiculous. We're just like slam out 2 drops, slam out 3 drops, and then start casting our non-creature spells. Flame Blessed Bolt, Vampire's Vengeance, Double Lacerate Flesh, and Grisly Ritual for removal. Bloodfound for recursion late game. Impulse for card draw. Yeah, again, nothing really jumps out as being particularly specifically good in this deck, but it looks consistent. So I'm going to roll with it. Change the stream title here to Sealed. Alright, so we are on the play. With 3 2-mana creatures to play, so we're just going to get out and get aggro here. Evolving Wilds, turn 1 from our opponent, grabs a forest. So just play Runebound Wolf first. Two mana, 1/3 from our opponent is pretty annoying to attack into. They're on Jund, and Alluring Suitor is the play. 1 mana away from the Lacerate Flesh to kill the Suitor. And get a blood token in the process to discard our next land. Double Evolving Wilds already. Opponent's sealed pool has some great mana fixing. Certainly in comparison to ours. We have Stone Cold 0. Alright, so here come the creatures. I'll trade 1 for 1 in this Dancer. Actually, it wouldn't be 1 for 1 because they have the mana from the Dancer's ability. I keep forgetting its ability to get double red when it transforms. That is so good, that part of it. I guess we trade 1 for 1 into the Flame Breather, like why not? Get it out of the way. Flip the Farmer, sure, but we're going to kill the Farmer instead of the Dancer here, because if we don't trade with Flame Breather when we kill the Dancer with Lacerate Flesh, the Farmer flips and they have a 4/3 lifelink. 4/3 lifelink is just even more important to me than this Trampler. To kill. Although we will need to draw some more creatures or removal to be able to block that thing, or we die to it. Well, we flip a Recluse here, which will be a 3/3, which can trade into the Dancer, and then I suppose we could double block the Celebrants with Courier Bat and Mind Leech School. We're very much on the back foot here. Our opponent's deck seems pretty sweet. Yeah, that is certainly game. Helena, now that's a 6/6 menace. No good way to block it here. We could block it with everything. Lose all but 1. Yeah, no, this is a fantastic sealed pool from our opponent. The double wilds for the Elena splash. I'm just going to scoop them up here. We're not getting out of this one. Even if we draw perfectly every turn, they still have double blood token here. Killing one of their threats would be the best draw we can have. It's just like kill Elena and die to the rest of the stuff. Alright. We do have Vampire's Vengeance here and Fearful Villager available. I keep this, as awkward as it is. Whenever we do cast Vampire's Vengeance, we get a blood token from it to discard a card. Try to draw the swamp. Sporeback Wolf. So kill that during our turn with a Vengeance. I don't think I want to Impulse. I'm not hurting for a swamp that badly. I have 3 cards to play with red. So I have 3 turns of casting red spells before I'm desperate for a swamp. That villager out here blocks the 2/4 all day long. Hiveheart Shaman. When that attacks, they grab a basic land. Thanks for the follow, Syntax. They grab a basic land that doesn't share a land type with one that they have. So they grab their splash color, and then they can start spitting out 4/4s for 6 mana. That seems very good. That That's big enough. I think we just Impulse here. Use it to play land for turn, preferably a swamp. We do get a swamp, which means we get to play a Recluse onto the board or a Blood Fountain. Blood Fountain isn't doing much for us right now with nothing in grave, so spend all our mana and get a creature out. Yeah, this is definitely... We're going to need our Grizzly card and get rid of this thing. Otherwise, it will take over the game with some big old insects. We could stack up a big block on it later in Vampire's Vengeance afterwards to finish it off. The final couple damage. So we could see that as a possibility in the future when we hold some mana up. So nothing else to cast there, so our Werewolf does flip, which is nice. 5 mana here. Cast our Cemetery Gatekeeper if we want a little first striker on the board. Could Lacerate something, but that's not enough to kill Shaman, which is the only important card to kill, I think. I don't think we get aggressive, because we're hitting for 6, we're taking 5. As soon as they can make creatures, our aggressive lines are just halted. So I think we just play into Vampire's Vengeance here. Probably play the Gatekeeper just so we have more blockers just in case. And then go for a block and kill on the Shaman with a Vampire's Vengeance. And I guess we have the kill without it now, because we can just double block with these two. Yeah, let's hold back here. Well, that is awful. 4/4 Trample Haste, it flips into an 8/8 Trample Haste, gives the rest of the field +1/+1 Trample and Haste. Alright, well, we can have a sick nasty block here and wipe the board. Except for our Gatekeeper. Yeah, we can kill everything except our Gatekeeper here. So this is not as bad as it looks. I guess actually we would need to first strike and then do Vengeance, which would mean that this Recluse wouldn't deal damage, so they'd still have the Wolf. So would I rather keep our 2/1 first striker or kill everything they have? Because if I want to kill everything they have, I have to wait till post-combat. I think we'll keep the Gatekeeper and they can keep the Wolf. Because that way, like, not only am I keeping the Gatekeeper around, but I'm also not taking the extra 3 trample damage here. Yeah. Yeah, so we block. We go Vampire's Vengeance, Gatekeeper kills, and first strike damage. Yeah. So now we do have Lacerate Flesh to kill their last creature, but I'm not super worried about it. Just 2 damage there. Could just Blood Fountain here. It's not like our deck has bombs to bring back with the fountain, so we might as well bring back the mediocre creatures we've got in there right now. We also don't have a lot of life gain for the bats. We could also just run out creatures here. I guess I'll go with that. Because the bat's kind of just a 2/2 flyer in this deck. And we're also double spelling by doing this against green-red, so if they play any werewolves, they'll be day-bound. Well, that's disgusting. Oh wait, that's not as good as I thought. Oh yeah, it only gets 1 creature back. I thought this was one creature permanent and then just one any permanent. So I thought they could bring back 2 creatures, but they can't. Just 1 creature, so they just bring back the 3/5. Fair enough. Unfortunately, the 3/5 is just harder for us to deal with than the 4/4 would have been. But we can shut it off as a blocker with our Blood Hypnotist in the future. So playing the land here in spite of the blood tokens so that we can cast a creature as soon as we crack the fountain. Stay aggressive, get as many creatures on the board as possible. Put pressure on our opponent here, so if they just tap out to play the Shaman, we make it so it can't block and still hit for almost lethal. And with Lacerate Flesh, I believe it is lethal. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It is exact lethal if we lacerate the wolf. We've got something in their hand, though. If we can't save the wolf, then we've got it here. I guess it could be a removal spell. If it's a removal spell, they survive also. We will find out. Presenting lethal damage on board on attacks. Alright, get there. Exact seize. The game was pretty solid. Vampire's Vengeance absolutely saved our butts. So we're in round 3 now. We got that turn 2 Gatekeeper if we want.
Congrats, really been enjoying your drafts on.
Thanks, Syntax. Thanks for the 100 bits as well. I'm glad you're enjoying. There'll be plenty more to come. This is the Vampire Land. Makes blood tokens eventually, so it doesn't do too much. I'm just gonna turn to the Gatekeeper and just get a first striker out. Because with Flame Blessed Bolt in our hand, we can stack up to do 4 damage to anything they block with before our Gatekeeper's even dealt damage. So it's really good with the Bolt. So sure, if we played it later, we get to exile something from a grave and start doming people for 2, but that hits us as well, so I don't know in the grand scheme of things. We're staying aggressive. If they block with this Purifier, we're going to kill it. Living the Dream. First strike, Flame Blessed Bolts. Get rid of that Purifier, keep the Gatekeeper out. And I think keep aggressive here, play another 2/2. Keep the pressure on, I should say. And even probably crack this blood, discard this land to draw something else. Problem is our opponent is on Vampire colors, so Vampire's Vengeance is not going to look so hot in this matchup. Alright, we gotta find a way to deal with Anya, or she will win the game. 4/5 here, so we can't attack in. Yeah, we're playing a guest and passing the turn. They get to sacrifice their blood tokens and or creatures to drain us for 2 life for everything they sacrifice. So slowly but surely, with enough blood token production, she will kill us. The bigger deal is that she stabilizes very well, because she's just got such high toughness, plus gaining a couple life every turn they want it is going to be really big. Right, another Markov Purifier. Seems pretty sick. Markov Purifier, kind of the build around white-black life gain card, can really keep your deck fueled. Make sure you're drawing a card every turn, because there's so much incidental life gain in the set. So it's like a card draw engine that needs to be dealt with immediately also. We have expended our one removal spell that we drew to kill the first one, so the second one does get to remain. I think I'll trade our Mind Leech Ghoul for this Vampire Slayer. Because they're presenting some kind of combat trick here. They wouldn't attack into the first strike or otherwise. So, like, if they spend a combat trick on our Mind Leech Ghoul, I'm also fine with that. It's our only creature that doesn't die to Vampire's Vengeance. So if they blow a combat trick here, then Vampire's Vengeance might actually just be a 1-for-1 removal spell later. If they don't, then these creatures just trade on board and we move on with our lives. And that looks to be the case. So our opponent definitely has some kind of trick in hand, but it wasn't worth killing a Mind Leech Ghoul with, so they decided against it. Persistent Specimen. Our opponent has all the blockers they need for days. And the Purifier to draw the extra card every turn. Things are going to escape from us very quickly here. Undead Butler as well. No good creatures in the grave yet, but we'll see what it mills. Double Catapult Fodder. Alright, well they'll get a big old 1/5 out, which will immediately flip. That's actually terrifying. They have 2 creatures with higher toughness than power, so these Catapult Fodders will immediately be the 2/6 that can fling creatures at us. So opponent continuing with the combo, drawing extra cards off the Purifier. So here's that combat trick again. Oh, it's definitely like +2/+2 indestructible Adamant Will. Kind of at a loss, no matter what we do. Like if we don't block, we're just taking a bunch of damage, they're gaining more life. If we do block, our creature's just going to die to Adamant Will. We don't have enough creatures on board to threaten to kill both of theirs and make them choose what to save. Like, I guess we do, but then we lose all of our creatures in the process. And might as well at this point. It's not like we're winning. Let's remove 1 card from their board and get rid of the Adamant Will in their hand. So Adamant Will on Anya here, Purifier dies. That's what I would guess. Or Sure Strike works as well. Same goal for the same mana. Oh, they're just going to do it? Is this just happening? I might want a Vampire's Vengeance if this is just happening. Because then Butler dies before Anya goes to their grave and they can't pick it up. They just pick up a Catapult Fodder. This is as much as Vampire's Vengeance is ever going to do against the vampire colors. Alright, so they do bring back a Catapult Fodder. And the board's gone. Okay. Well, our opponent has more cards than us, so they're still definitely winning this game, but I'm feeling way better now than I was a second ago, even with no cards in hand. Yeah, I mean, now there's reasonably... I mean, not reasonably, but there is a world where we get really lucky and can actually draw out of this game now. But certainly not when they had the 1-2 punch of Anya plus Markov Purifier to just drain us for 2 and draw a card every single turn. I'm very happy to have gotten that off the board. Yeah, and they just like don't have attacks now, and we just get to hold up Lacerate Flesh for once they have a creature that's too threatening for us, plus the wolf flips. Alright. So it's not impossible to come back from. Ooh, yeah, but our opponent has that great land. They can dump all their mana into blood tokens whenever they're not drawing good non-land cards. They have a great mana sink there. Ooh, Rottentide Gargantua. I think I just want to play a 5 for it, because that starts attacking. They only have 3 power on their board. Yep. They could double block and kill the Fearsome Werewolf, so I don't want to send that in, because I only get to kill the 2/1 and they get to kill the 4/3 if they double block. Blood Servitor, 2/2, gets a blood token. Use the blood, draw a card, discard a land. And pass the turn. Ooh, Desperate Farmer. Kind of like Desperate Farmer and then attack with Gargantua. Sure, they can kill Gargantua if they block with both their 2 power creatures, but then we're killing 2 of their creatures and turning our lifelinker into a 4/3. Seems like a great deal. Still don't feel like attacking with Fearsome Werewolf is a super good deal, though. We'd kill the Celebrant, lose the Werewolf, and flip the Farmer. Valorous Stance to just blow up the 5/4. Well, the 4/3 lifelinker is active now. More blood from our opponent's Voldaren Estate. If we attack with everybody, they kill one of these. The other one gets in. Yeah, they can't kill both of them. And even if I Lacerate Flesh, they can still kill one. Blocking with Catapult Fodder and a 2 toughness thing, so just do the double attack. Now that we have 4 life gain on the board, 4 lifelink on the board, we can definitely just start getting in. Alright, so this seems pretty cool to me, because now we can Lacerate the Fodder to get their high toughness creature out of the way for our other stuff to be able to get in. And we get blood tokens here to cash in. Drop these lands, draw some cards. Ooh. Unfortunately, they did already kill our life linkers, so Courier Bat is unlikely to get anything back from the grave, but it's still a 2/2 flyer. Evasive threat. So still just digging with the Voldaren Estate. Card's drawn them so many cards, they're down to 13 cards in the library now. They've drawn 6 more cards than we have this game. We got Blood Token. What's coming up? Mind Leech Ghoul. Just gonna play that as a 2/2. Yeah, and I don't want to cast 2 spells in one turn because I don't want to flip our Werewolf to being a 2/3 menace again, so I'm just gonna play the Flyer. Save the Mind Leech Ghoul for later. Late to the stream, where am I at match-wise? In this sealed event, I think this is round 3, we're 1-1. The sealed pool is honestly not very good. Our deck looks pretty standard, pretty mediocre. If the untapped overlay works for you, you should be able to check out the deck list on the left. Very mediocre. We did a really long draft before this, and we went 7-2 with a really nice vampire aggro deck again, so that was nice. Ooh, I really like Blood Crazed Socialite as the draw, as the play this turn. That seems excellent. They still can't block anything we have, so they go down to 6. Here's the Socialite. Do I keep that blood token around for extra Socialite damage? I guess I will. I have enough mana to crack it later if I need to. Again, I'm not playing the Mind Leech Ghoul, so I don't flip my Fearsome Werewolf because it threatens so much damage on the Nightbound side. Markov Retribution. No vampires out, so just +1/+0 to everybody. No blocks, crackback for lethal. Courier Bat, they haven't gained any life. It's one blocker, Lethal Menace, they scoop them up. That was not how I was expecting that game to go at all. The 1-2 punch of the Anya plus Markov Purifier. I was terrified. They had the ability to drain us for some life and draw a card every turn. Luckily, just being able to trade off into those creatures in combat really got us out of that one. Sluggish Booty is the opponent. Well, bring it on. We're on the play with a turn 2 Mind Leech Ghoul and just a bunch of interaction late game. A little awkward, but both our colors, so whatever. Got a Blood Fountain to get a blood token to cash in one of these cards if they're not going to work out well. If our opponent's just on like black-red, we could just discard Vampire's Vengeance to draw something else. White as the first color. White blue from our opponent, so the disturbed colors with a lot of spirits and stuff. Ooh, Desperate Farmer here. We trade our Ghoul off. This turns into a 4/3 lifelinker. We trade the Farmer off and we can pick it up with Courier Bat because it has lifelink. I could see holding back the Ghoul, but I'm just going to send it in here. Start getting some damage on our opponent. Really like the idea of attacking all next turn and picking back whatever dies, or picking up whatever dies with Courier Bat. Well, Vampire's Vengeance is going to excel in this matchup. That is for sure. That being said, we're not going to play it for a while because all our creatures on board are non-vampires. So, not doing much for now. So do we get to kill the Storm Chaser Drake here? With great names like our opponents comes great responsibility. True. We don't get to pick up our Desperate Farmer. They do not go for the block there. Still just play the bat here. Just miss out on that. With Vengeance in hand, I don't really want to. We're just passing the turn. That feels wrong. But I'm going to. So surprised they don't want to trade anything on board. Well, that would explain that. Auras for the Stormlight Drake. Could Vampire's Vengeance here. We're at a net loss. We're spending 3 cards to get rid of 2.5. This 1/1 Spirit, not really a whole card. 1 mana away from Grizzly Ritual is nice. Send in the squad again. Ready to Courier Bat if things die. Or Vampire's Vengeance in the future. Alright, so kill the Desperate Farmer. It's a trade. We gain life during this, which means Courier Bat can bring back the farmer, and then Courier Bat can block their Drake. Five mana up from our opponent. 5 cards still in their hand, which is pretty threatening. Just play some removal here to get the Courier Bat out of the way, maybe. They're certainly eyeing our cards. No, pass the turn. Well, main phase 2 at least. Scattered Thoughts, draw some cards. Alright. They are down to 12, so we're threatening them pretty hard, just attacking for 4 a turn. Ooh, they did hit a Brine Comber, though, to slap onto the Storm Chaser Drake, which is really going to keep them fueled again. We could just Grizzly Ritual the Storm Chaser Drake and attack all, but I also like Desperate Farmer attack all. So it looks like they still just don't want to trade with anything, which means they just take 4, and then we just keep pounding them with all the 2/2s. Yeah, I'll let them keep doing their Storm Chaser Drake shenanigans. As long as it means they're just dumping their mana into making 1 creature good. We are down to 8. Uh-oh, green source. The green splash has arrived. Brine-bound Gift on the Drake. Yep, that does its thing. 4 mana up now. Nature's Embrace, that gives it +2/+2. I think we just Grizzly Ritual it now, next turn. And then they just have 1/1s on their board and that's it. They do still have a lot of cards in hand thanks to the Drake's ability to keep them fueled, but we just Ritual that thing. They have 1 blue up, so they can't cradle it. They double block Desperate Farmer here and take 4. Or double block Farmer and Chump block, take 2, go to 6. Could see an argument for double blocking Courier Bat, depending on what's in their hand. If they have more flyers in hand, then they don't. But if they don't have more flyers in hand, then maybe they kill Bat. Alright, so they kill the Lifelinker. They're down to 4 life now. Facing 4 power on our board. But it can't exactly break through if they play any more creatures. Another Storm Chaser Drake from our opponent. More auras here again. Yep, Sheltering Boughs. The full-on Storm Chaser Drake combo deck from our opponent's sealed pool here. I guess... I really want them to chump block with this 1/1, and then we can sacrifice a creature and get that Storm Chaser Drake to die. The problem is we have to attack in with both for them to chump block, which means we are still going to lose both our creatures. I think we still do it. Make sure we get to kill that Storm Chaser Drake here. We could also kill it with Vampire's Vengeance if we want instead. Either way, we kill our own creature and their creature. Maybe they play it safe, make sure the Drake doesn't die by not blocking with the Drake, in which case things work awesomely here. Oh yeah. Now we're super happy because we only lose our ground creature and we still kill the Drake. So they played around the cheap red burn spells there. But we did not have the cheap red burn, we had the Sacrifice a Creature card. So that just panned out really well for us. Doesn't really mean our opponent misplayed, they were just playing around other cards that were equally likely. Now is where I wish Vampire's Vengeance did damage to players too. Just do the final 2 damage that way. By invitation only, everybody sacrifices the whole board. Sure. Goodbye, our board state. Do we have any haste creatures in this deck? I don't believe we do, but that would be super nice. We do not have any haste creatures, although Cemetery Gatekeeper kind of wins the game on the spot. Exile a card from a grave whenever somebody casts a card of that type. They take 2 damage, so they just can't cast whatever card type we choose without dying. Which I think would just be creature. They have 3 mana up, could be a counter. Go Ridgewolf and then Guest, I suppose. If either one gets through, that's lethal. But they have a lot of cards in hand, so they're likely to play more creatures to block with. Circle of Confinement removes the 3/2. The 2/2 still around to potentially find the kill. No, a 4/4 from our opponent. Oh, and Catilda. Flying lifelink protection from vampires, power toughness equal to the number of spirits and enchantments they have. So I think we're going to attack with Ridgewolf, hope they block with Mariner, and then Vampire's Vengeance to clear their board. Lacerate Flesh. That doesn't actually help us in the immediate future. 'Cause it's not like we can kill one and find lethal. See, I think we're going attack Ridgewolf. They block it with the Mariner, and we Vengeance to clear the board again. If they trade with Catilda, then we have to lacerate the hook hand. So I guess it's nice to have that backup plan. Alright, cool. So Vampire's Vengeance. The board is gone. If I had 1 more mana, that'd be super awesome, because then I could Blood Fountain, but can't have it all. Some really great card draw from our opponent. Thirst for Discovery here. They've drawn a lot off the Storm Chaser Drakes. They drew off these Sheltering Boughs. Scattered Thoughts as well. There's basically never been a point in this game where we've had nearly as many cards in hand as our opponent. Ooh, 4 color as well. Here comes the Mountain. White, blue, green, and the red source here. They're checking out their graveyard, probably looking at their disturb cards, their enchantments like Catilda they can bring back. Oh, maybe they're doing the shuffle 4 cards in, then draw a card out of the top 4. That's probably it. Yep. Shuffle their best 4 cards in, which includes by invitation only. That's an issue. By invitation only, Catilda are both in there. Now they're drawing 1 out of the top 4 of their 18 card deck. Odds are they hit one of those again. One of the 4 they just shuffled back. Come on, Cemetery Gatekeeper. Ooh, wedding announcement? Oh dear. Alright, so they get a 1/1 during their end step for 3 turns, and then all of their creatures get +1/+1. Alright, that's not the cemetery thing, so we'll discard and draw. Hey Fear, how's it going? Cemetery Gatekeeper, where are you? I need you in my life, please. Such the perfect draw if we hit you. So now is the point where we have to choose between digging and hoping for that cemetery card or just sacking to the Blood Fountain. I feel like we have to just crack the Blood Fountain now. And just guarantee draw something here for next turn. Get the Rottard Gargantuan something else. I guess we can choose it. We can choose to just crack it next turn, so we don't really have to do it right now. We could threaten to have an instant. You're good, just home from work. What mode are we playing right now? This is a sealed. Played one really good, quite long draft. So I'm at like Mythic 330 or something, so I figured I'd just sit on that rank for now. Play a sealed in the meantime. We are 2-1 right now. This is round 4, I think. Our opponent has a bunch of bomby cards in this deck, but we're getting very close to finding lethal against them. Ooh, Blood Hypnotist can shut off a blocker. That's very big. 5/6. We have enough mana to play Hypnotist and Ridgewolf here. Will the draft make it to YouTube? Probably. We're not the 2/2 flyer. Oh, you're right. You're right, Rivoke. You're super right. Well, I figured I wanted to be able to spend 5 and 2, so I could do a 7 mana play this turn if I play this land. But 2/2 flyer is like the best threat we have. Well, that's what they call not good. We can blow it up, though, and still find lethal. They have 1 card in their hand. If their last card in their hand isn't gas, we do just win. Lacerate Flesh and then shut off their other blockers. Especially if they go for an attack here. Blood Hypnotist was a wildly good draw here. But we should have a 2/2 flyer and the Hypnotist on the board, not a 2/2 on the ground and the Hypnotist. Alright. Oh yeah, Lacerate Flesh can't kill Catilda. Protection from vampires means I can't use the ability. Target creature. It's getting targeted by a vampire's ability. We can't. use that ability on Catilda. Oh no. Oh no. Cemetery Gatekeeper, so if they cast something wrong, we can kill them. I guess we could play Gargantua, and then, like, if they sacrifice... No, it only works if they sack Catilda. We can't make Catilda unable to block here. And we can't lacerate Catilda unless we get rid of another enchantment on their board, and we can't get rid of another enchantment on their board. Unless we spend 5 mana on Gargantua. So unless we had 10 mana, 5 for Gargantua, and then they sack the Nature's Embraced creature, then we just don't get there. The life gain from Catilda's too much. I guess we could see for sure, but I'm almost 100% certain that Blood Hypnotist cannot target Catilda. Yep, can't. Well, this is a brutal way to end it. Protection from vampires. Maybe our opponent misplays, I guess. Is that our hope? Exile a creature in grave and hope that they just cast a creature here. I don't even know if creatures are the most prevalent card type. Because we have so many sorceries and enchantments and stuff. I'll just choose creature anyway. It still feels most likely. Each player sacrifices 3 creatures. Well, that's disgusting. We were just getting toyed around by all these bombs. I mean, we do get to lacerate Catilda now, but they gain a bunch of life. Make the other dork unable to block, swing with wolf. Take the Catilda out with lacerate. Lacerate's 4 damage. It was a 5/5. I would have loved to kill Catilda, but we could not find lethal there. Because we just can't kill Catilda, and we can't make Catilda unable to block our stuff. Catilda's PT equal to the spirits and enchantments, so killing the little vampire tokens wouldn't change anything. Or the little human tokens. Unfortunately. Catilda would not have been dead, would it? Oh, you mean you force them to block the wolf by killing the other creature? And then throwing Lacerate at Catilda there? That's true. Oh my god, opponent's deck is very good. But Rottide Gargantua was super good against this Torrens or whatever. Yeah, I see what you're saying now, Time Carp. Both creatures unable to block. Don't send in with the vampire, just send in with the 2/2, because if we send in with both, the vampire gets blocked by the protection creature, and they get the life gain off to survive. But if we attack with just the 2/2, they either die or make the block and gain a bunch of life. But by making the block, she's taking the damage for Lacerate to finish off. Yeah, that's a very good line. Alright. Rottide Gargantua, get us out of this, please. I am begging you. I am humbly requesting. This game is ridiculous. This game's gone on so long. How much blood token production do we have left in the deck? Belligerent Guest. Blood Crazed Socialite. That's it. I'm just going to play this line. I guess we have one Lacerate Flesh too. Alright, top deck war. We hit for 5. This kills them in 2 hits. Uh-oh, Storm Chaser Drake kills us in 2 hits. If they hit a land... if they hit a land... I mean, if they can't kill Runebound Wolf, we could just use the Wolf's ability. Helena? No! What is this deck? Oh my god. 1 turn. 1 turn off from Runebound just slap in the face. The last second Helena. We fought through double Catilda because they played Catilda. They played Catilda and by invitation only, shuffled both back in with Witness the Future. So we had to play against 2 by invitation only, 2 Catilda, Torrens, and Helena. And Wedding Invitation. Our opponent casts like 7 rares on us total, I think, because of the recasting rares. Yeah, we got demolished there. They have 6 out of 6 usable rares in that deck? I did not do the math. I think we only saw 4 or 5, technically. How long have I been playing Magic versus streaming? I've been playing Magic since 2009. When I turned 13, my dad was like, alright, Magic's 13 plus, now's the time. And he taught me how to play Magic. And I've been streaming... Technically, I've been streaming, or not streaming, but making like YouTube videos off and on since 2009. But I haven't been like actively trying to do like almost daily videos until 2021. In January this year is when I started doing almost daily videos. But I've always been like, I've always just enjoyed YouTube, like watching and doing it. So there are some really old videos on my channel of like pre-releases from 2009, like my World Wake pre-release deck and stuff. I'm just like a 13-year-old kid. I like this good 2-3-4 curve. Get rid of the second guest. I appreciate that, Fear. I do have a lot of fun with it. So it is nice to hear that people enjoy it as well. Yeah, you know what's really wild about that last game? I think Time Carp, you came up with a really good line in general for playing around that Catilda, getting that thing off the board. But because they just immediately top decked by invitation only, it somehow worked better for us that I misplayed. It was just, you know, it was like one of those games where it's just like absolute insanity. Well, I like the start of this game. 2-3 power creatures in a row. Our opponent has nothing on the board yet. Once they do have something, if we make it to 5 mana, we can lacerate. Hero's Downfall on the 3-1. We do get to keep the guests around then, which means we get to keep the blood tokens flowing. Distracting Geist. Not too scared about that since we're on the aggressive here. We do hit the mana for Blood Crazed Socialite. I'm loving that. Kind of like the attack all here. They can have their Geist in the graveyard if they want to slap that enchantment on something else. Just get some creatures out of the way so our 5/5 menace can more likely get in. Ooh, it's all just going to hit them. Down to 9 life, let's go. Socialite looking like an absolute beating here. So they have 5 mana up now. They have +2/+0 for 2 with Groom's Finery if they want to slap that onto something. But a lot of menace, trample, some evasive threats here. We're definitely getting damage through. Diregraph Scavenger is pretty good. Gain some life, go up to 11, get a little bit of breathing room. Trade off with anything it blocks. With the Death Touch. We are still just rolling on in with everybody here. Vampire's Vengeance? That doesn't kill anything we have and it kills 2 of their cards. Yeah, and the only thing they can just trade the 3/2 for 3/2, they take 5, 6, 7. Well, okay, that's a draw. Yep, that seems like the play. Oh, the 1/2's a vamp. Good lord. Well, I think it's still solid here. Because I think they still just trade with the guest. Yeah, it's our only play this turn because we only have 3 mana, so I think it still ends up being the play. But I definitely misread. Drafted your first Premier Draft. Your deck is so meh. It happens. I've had some pretty meh decks in this format as well. Alright, so they are getting rid of the Socialite here. They are down to 6. Nebelgast Beguiler is a 2/5. Put the 1 mana black enchantment on your opponent's 1/2 before and got unpleasantly surprised. Well, that's a really good way to remember that it's a vampire. I have yet to Gift of Fangs my opponent's vampire, but I've certainly drawn plenty of Gift of Fangs against vampire decks and just been like, well, well, shit. I kind of want to discard Lacerate Flesh, but that might be dumb. I mean, they only have 1 more card in their hand, and I kind of like getting to the next black mana for Gargantua. I don't know, I'm going to just discard it. Flame Blessed Bolt, not bad. We did make it exactly to the black mana thanks to discarding here. I could sacrifice Gargantua, and then they lose Beguiler, take 5. Otherwise, they just take 2. Honestly, this could be wrong, but Skylar's kind of annoying. You put them to 1 life this way against a menace creature. You remember the one player that I played against who scooped immediately after doing so? That was sad. That was a sad time. We had the aggressive vampire start and they tried to -2/-2. Probably the 3/2 trample or something. Just became a 5/4. It was the immediate concession. Lantern Flare for 0. Well, that is an unfortunate draw from our opponent. And that is game. This is a mulligan to me. And this is solid. I think we get rid of a Mind Leech Ghoul because I do really want to make it to these 5 drops. So I definitely don't want to get rid of land. I guess we could get rid of a 5 drop instead. Maybe Gargantua because it's double black. Just gonna bank on hitting a land. I'm getting rid of a Mind Leech Ghoul. I'll just do nothing turn 3 and 4. Because I'll hit my lands. I've seen the future. We draw Gargantua and then we draw 2 swamps. Ooh. Flame Blessed Bolt. We don't really have the follow through to get aggressive here, so like I'm gonna offer the trade here, but I'm not gonna like just bolt the Disciple to get in for 2 or anything. Because we could like kill that to try to keep getting in for 2 a turn, but that's not gonna stack up into enough damage to matter that we're getting aggressive theoretically. So we just don't have more creatures to add to the power. Alright. Here we go. We draw a swamp next turn and we just start dropping 5/4s. Come on. Diagraph Scavenger from our opponent. Too big for the Flame Blessed Bolt. Sad. Swamp. Not a swamp, but it is a card I can play. So we'll get a Blood Hypnotist onto the board. If nothing else, it might trade into the Scavenger. But I mean, they're a green deck here. I expect them to play something bigger than a 2/3 this turn. We'll see. Ancient Lumberknot. That's certainly bigger than a 2/3. And it makes all of their creatures have power equal to the toughness. So the Scavenger is now a 3/3 instead of a 2/3. Lumberknot's pretty scary. We do hit the mana to lacerate that though, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. It's removing a lot of power from their board. It's removing 5 power total, the 4 from the Lumberknot and the additional 1 on Scavenger. And obviously Hypnotist can't block, so just send that in the meantime. Definitely looking like we should have just gotten rid of one of the Mind Leech Scabs. But just you wait. Once we hit that second swamp, we're going off. Bleed dry the Hypnotist. Goodbye, my friend. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, I guess we're bolting the Ghoul. We can just do that later. I'm going to hold on to this land in case we hit any blood tokens. So we can try to filter it towards the swamp. Okay, now we're definitely bolting the Desperate Farmer. Alright, Belligerent Guest. Trade into the 2/3 Death Toucher. Not bad at all. We are going to die pretty quickly here if we don't hit that second black, though. We're going to die immediately here. Even if we do. Brambleworm has hit the board. 7/6 gains 5 life, reach, trample. Well, I will take that 7. That'll be the end of this sealed run here. Full punished for keeping the Gargantua and the Lacerate Flesh. So I should have got rid of the Gargantua in hindsight, obviously. Then we would have played one more 2/2 this game, but we still lose. One more 2/2, I mean, it blocks 2 damage this turn and we die from the trample. I guess it would have blocked more early on, slowed them down. But rather than hitting the second swamp, we hit the second Gargantua. That is certainly not ideal. So 3 and 3 to end the sealed event. Nice average run for the average sealed pool. Again, not too unhappy with that. I don't think this sealed pool could do dramatically better. Like white-blue, we took a look at it. It could have been okay. But I feel like the black-red is also okay. And maybe blue-red could have been fun. We'll claim those prizes. Decent run overall. Well, that is going to end the sealed event. As always, thank you all very much for watching. If you want to see more of these videos, you're at the right place. Just stick around on the channel. And if you'd like to catch me live, you can check that out at the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. So once again, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll be back again soon with some more Magic Arena.